basically we take 10 minutes before Salat al-Jummah to answer questions. Those questions can be submitted through our app. That's the Al-Hijrah app. It is available both on the App Store and on the Play Store. Or there's a picture of me that says questions. All right, get your questions answered. Just open up your phone to your camera, and then a link will come up. Click on the link, and you can submit your question anonymously, inshallah. What is the Shafi'i madhab's position on halal meat? It's the same position as the rest of the madhahib. You have to eat halal meat, right? I think that's something that's very important to understand. The question might be on the dhabh. The question might be on tariqat al-dhabiha, on how the dhabiha is actually to be done. So the main conflict is between the Shafi'is and the Hanafis in this issue. The Hanafis have 3 conditions to dhabiha. They have 3 conditions to slaughter. Those conditions are a tasmiyah, that the person doing the slaughter be Muslim, and the last one, that the cut be from the jugular, right? The jugular and the carotid, so that the blood spills from those 2 places. For the Shawafi, there are 2 conditions, that the slaughterer be Muslim and that the cut be here, meaning that the tasmiyah is not a shart, right? Taking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name is not a condition, it is something that is recommended. Could you actually explain what Sufism is? Sufism has different meanings to different people, and there's a spectrum of understandings on how to deal with it. So for some people, Sufism means that you have to follow a tariqah. That could be Qadiri, it could be Shadhili, it could be Ba'alawi, whatever the case might be. And the idea behind those tariqas is it is a fraternity. You take bay'ah to a sheikh, you go to a sheikh and you say, like I pledge my allegiance to you to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not commit sin, etc. And they take advice from that sheikh like a mentor. And then for other people, Sufism, what does it mean? It just means something that brings me closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, different adhkar that I can make, different ways that I draw near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and is closer to a form of tazkiyah. So like I said, depending on who you talk to, everybody will define Sufism in a different way. Is Sufism part of Islam? Yes, it is. There's no doubt. If you're talking about tazkiyah, right? So we all have to purify our hearts. We all have to draw near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We all have to make dhikr. We all have to make dua. So if we mean it in this way, then this is something that is essential and is something that is definitely part of Islam. Are engagements a thing in Islam? So an engagement is something like a promise that I am promising to marry to your daughter, or I'm promising to marry to your son. It's not a quote-unquote Islamic concept, but this idea of promising our sons or promising our daughters, it's not problematic, right? It's not problematic in and of itself. Why are there 10 narrations of the Quran? What is the purpose? There are not 10 okay. So this is a discussion of qira'at. So basically, if I had to summarize on how to understand qira'at in Quran, so Sharia is everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent, right? The Sharia is the Quran and the Sunnah. How do I understand the Quran and the Sunnah? I understand the Quran and the Sunnah when it comes to ahkam and rulings, I understand it through the madhahib. Yes? So I have Sharia, right? I have the Quran and the Sunnah. Now how do I process the Quran and the Sunnah to actually give me rulings? This is the role of the madhahib, and they have certain conditions in place on how to express the Sharia. Right, so the madhab is the expression of the Sharia. A qira'ah is an expression of the Quran. Right, so this is something that's important. The Quran is this holistic idea in this holistic model that we have, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to us, and the different ways to express that is what a qira'ah is. So a qira'ah is a narration, quote unquote, if that's a good way to express it or to talk about it. And the thing is, because these 10 are the ones that are accepted. Why are these the 10 that accepted? Because these are the ones that the Qur'an have kind of put the Qur'an these 10 are the ones that the Qur'an have kind of agreed upon, saying that these are the ones that we accept within the Sunni tradition. Are these 10 the only one? No. So you have what we call qira'at al-mutawatira, and these are the ones that we accept. And then you have some qira'at that are not accepted, and then you have qira'at that are rejected, which are known as qira'at al-shadda. So you do have a wider number and a greater number of these quote-unquote narrations of the Quran, but the 10 that we study and that we have today, these are the ones that are utilized, and these are the ones that are accepted for the salah. Did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam do anything he regretted or felt like he could have done better? I don't know. I don't think so. So I think this goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's statement, like, لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون, that these individuals, they have no fear, nor do they regret, their decisions. So regret in the sense, in a spiritual sense, no. The decisions that we make, as long as we are making decisions, and there are two very important pillars to every decision that we make in our lives. And those two important pillars are what? That I do istishara and I do istikhara. That any decision that I make in my life, it's very important for me to seek counsel from the appropriate people. So if I'm going to get my car fixed, I'm not going to go talk to a doctor, right? I'm going to talk to other mechanics, right? If I want to change my carpet, I'm going to talk to Abu Nabil, right? So it's very important for me to make sure that I talk to people who are specialized in that particular field, or who have knowledge of that field. I seek counsel from them, I make istikhara, and then I can go ahead and make a decision. If I make a decision in this way, if I'm making a decision in this way, there's nothing for me to regret, because I have taken all of the means necessary in order for me to draw closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in order for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless my decision. Does it mean that the step in the decision I make will happen? No, not necessarily. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He decides, and it's up to Him on whether He will allow me to allow that decision to come to fruition, or He'll stop me from whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deems out of His infinite wisdom. Don't worry, I end on time. Before we begin the khutbah today, though, there is, inshallah, a nice surprise for all of us. This brother, inshallah, I'm sorry, I forgot the name. Walter. Walter would like to take his shahada. So inshallah, I wanted this to be his first Jummah at Al-Hijrah. So inshallah, we can all welcome him. So Walter, I'm just going to need you to repeat after me. All right. Are you ready? All right. So ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. I bear witness that there is no God except Allah, and that Muhammad is His slave and messenger. Takbir! MashaAllah, man. Congratulations, man. Alhamdulillah. Take him for wudu, inshallah, and then he can join for the khutbah.